G'day everyone. I recently purchased 3 watches on the cheap and reviewed the first one earlier, and I'm trying to decide which one to look at next, but whoop, it looks like one of them made up my mind for me. So with that dilemma sorted, let's blast off and check out this offering from League, or LIGE, or LIGE 8972, which I'll just refer to now as the Spaceman. So here's a specs list of all the details, including physical dimensions, weight, water resistance, crystal, movement, and price. For a slight change of pace, and for obvious reasons, I'll start with the middle of that dial, and taking center stage is this module that displays an astronaut, stars, a planet, and what I suspect is orbiting moons that appear and disappear with every passing second. In a sea of digital watches using these modules that look and take themselves seriously, it is kind of fun and refreshing to look down and have a little spacesuit and constellation blink back at you. This is definitely a watch that will catch your eye and appeal to space enthusiasts, the younger crowd, or, like myself, young at heart. Glancing above the module, you have 2 smaller square windows, with the month and date indicators on the left side, with date text hovering above that month indicator, and in the right pane is text using the first 2 letters to represent the respective day of the week, with week text running above that value. And going to the bottom of the dial, you have the current time readout in hours, minute, and seconds format, with a small P on the left to indicate PM time. Yet despite the childlike element of the module, one thing I love about this dial is how uniform and structured it appears. And it's thanks to those horizontal lines and single vertical line running along the dial that separate each complication to not only provide as much relevant content on screen as possible, but make it appear organized and coherent. It really helps to focus your attention on each feature when you need to view it. Moving further out, you have a shiny plastic bezel surrounding the dial, which is a kind of greyish silvery colour. When you compare it to the blue case and strap colour, it does look a little out of place, but on the other hand, it looks inoffensive, and the colour does keep to that outer space theme, so I'm still pleased with it. The plastic casing won't be winning any refinement or elegance awards anytime soon, but its darker blue is a nice neutral colour, and it'll easily survive any bumps, drops, or other minor accidents it might encounter. The more compact case dimensions and lightweight also make this suitable for most wrist sizes, and you'll barely notice it once you're wearing it. Although I should point out that this still might wear too large for kids under the age of 8. And the silicone strap with signed buckle, while a little stiff, is quite comfortable to wear as well, and for a budget offering, feels better quality compared to some other competitors out there. Flanking the sides of the Spaceman are your standard push buttons that toggle its basic features, such as the alarm and the stopwatch. Once the alarm is activated, a tiny bell symbol appears next to the astronaut complication, and when it sounds, you'll easily hear it in an enclosed room. The buttons themselves protrude just enough from the case to be easy to grip and operate, but not so much where they could be prone to bumps and scrapes. And one of those buttons operates the backlight, bathing the dial in a blue-white colour in the dark. There's only a single light on offer here in the top left-hand corner, but thankfully it's enough to light up the entirety of the dial without missing any of the visuals. And speaking of visuals, I'll admit that one of the Spaceman's biggest strengths might be a problem for others. I really dig that astronaut and planet module in the middle, but it does take up a huge chunk of screen real estate, and if checking the time is a bigger priority, or if your vision isn't the best, it might have been a wiser choice for the designers to put the time in the middle and keep the modules in the smaller pane instead. Personally, I still prefer this design, but I can understand others might find it overwhelming. And while we're on the mixed feelings topic, that tiny week text above the weekday complication irks me a little. I suspect it's meant to represent day of the week, but for grammatical accuracy, I feel they should have used day text instead. But it is a tiny nitpick and could also just boil down to a matter of word preference. Protecting the screen is acrylic crystal, which will scratch more readily than Grand Wizzard Theodore, but we are talking about a $12 watch here. Plus, Polywatch can help some of those scratch ailments. It is advertised as Hardlex glass on the AliExpress website, but that plasticky feel screams acrylic to me. And now I'm going to bring the Spaceman crashing back to Earth with its negatives. And if you notice while I was running through the specs of the Spaceman, I put a question mark against the lug width. Getting a proper measurement is tough, as 22mm is the width of the strap itself at its thickest point, while the actual lug slot that fits the strap is a bit over 23mm. But what makes this a particular negative is that these lugs don't use a conventional spring bar system. In fact, they just use this groove where you slot in your strap. And from memory, there are very few vendors out there that stock straps with this design, so you will need to shop around. Given the strap is comfortable and sturdy enough, it's not that bad, but if it breaks, good luck sourcing a replacement. The 30 meters of water resistance doesn't come as a shock to me given the cost and target audience for Spaceman, but you'll want to avoid getting this watch overly saturated. Aiding with the limited water resistance of the Spaceman is a steel rectangular caseback held in by 4 screws. Normally I'm not fussed with casebacks, but the laser engraving of a logo and some of its specifications is so shallow, most of the time you need to move it around on certain angles just to read parts of it. I know for most people this won't be a deal breaker, but it's a case of either use a better engraving method or don't bother. But that's all the negatives I can really think of about the Spaceman. At $12 it represents decent value for money. That proposition became a little bit sweeter when I picked it up in that bundle sale for only $7. And for that price, and as a watch and time-telling device, I'd say go right ahead and grab it. But I think it's that central module with the astronaut, stars and planets that's going to determine if this is something you or your kids would want to wear. So if serious looks are more your bag, then you'll probably give this one a miss. But for the space aficionados or those looking for something a bit more fun and childlike, the Spaceman is a watch you definitely want to check out. And if you like your colorways a bit more, well, on black and white, you can also opt for a black or white case and strap theme. If you've owned or still wear this particular model, I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. And if you like my content and haven't done it yet, a like and subscribe always helps me too. But that's it for now, and thanks for watching, eh?